Hello, my friends. Um, I've been seeing posts on Facebook from people I know and people I really don't know very well, talking about how they're struggling really hard, and some of them are in places right now where they're like, "Don't tell me I'm strong. Don't tell me, you know." Don't tell me what to do. This is hard, and I'm pissed and I hate it. It totally sucks. I just want to say I get that. I get it. Um, yeah, so I wanted to share a bit of my story from this last year and a half, really. I've been, I started really diving into the self care, self love journey back in 2012. So now it's been 9 years. And I want to say, and you're probably going to hear me say this a lot, learning to love myself has revolutionized my life. That doesn't mean that I read a book and, oh, it was like the lights went on and suddenly everything was totally groovy. No. Just like everything else, you learn new things and then you have to figure out how to apply that to your life. And some people never really try to do that. They're just like, yeah, I read the book and I know what codependency is, and yeah, I can see that it was part of my life back then, and da-da-da. But, you can tell how much a person really gets it, whatever it is that they've read about, or whatever they've been through. You can tell whether somebody really got the lesson or not, by the way they're living right now with what's going on. So anyway, and it's not a judgment thing. It's just like, if you're going to get anywhere in life that you want to go, you have to be honest with yourself. So anyway, and that's what, I'm seeing on Facebook, some people being real honest, like, this sucks, I hate it, and I'm angry, and, don't tell me to calm down, don't tell me, look on the bright side, don't tell me it could always be worse, all the platitudes, all the bullshit people say, because they don't want to hear, they can't handle your pain. It hurts them. They feel it. They feel the vibes. They feel it. And rather than, and we all have done this to each other, so don't act like you're all high and mighty and your shit don't stink, because it does. And pardon my language, but I'm talking about the real nitty gritty. I totally get that vibe that says, I'm going to tell you how strong I am in a minute, leave me alone. I just need to say this. I just need people who love me to, like, pray for me and send me good vibes. Whatever, but, don't come in like a teacher at this moment in my life. That's not cool. And don't come in acting like I should blow it all off and just, get happy in a heartbeat, because that's not going to happen. So anyway, I've had some big transition in the last couple of years, and so I found myself in a new place, new situation that had a lot of fluctuation with it. Like in my living space, there was this, because I moved to a new state, well, back to my home state. And then I finally, I had to get a job, and I finally got the job and bought my house. And, there's just a huge transition period of living like a fish out of water. And even with all that, I feel like I handled that time period really well. But then when I finally got my house, and got moved in, I also had some family members who needed some assistance. And the way I was able to help them was, hey, you can move in with me until you can get on your feet. So I'm an introvert and I need my alone time. Like, I need more alone time than the average bear. I just do. And it isn't about, oh, those people are so hard to be with. No, it's my personality. When I spend time with people, I'm actually spending my energy. I've only got so much energy to go around. That's not your problem to worry about as my friend or family member. This is my me. I am my responsibility. I belong to me. It's cool. I got this. But if I don't get what I need, if I just get all wonky and I'm not taking care of things the way I need to for myself, then yeah, I just kind of come unraveled. And so with this new stuff that was happening, sharing my home, and it was good, but because there was a lot of newness to the situation and reestablishing connection with these people, I didn't set boundaries the way I normally would, and that came back to bite me hard. And then there were just things that happened well, you all were there for 2020. That was a trip. I think everybody I know had circumstances on a personal level in their jobs. We all saw what was happening in the world and felt like the world is just losing its frickin' mind. I think we all felt really shaken and traumatized by that. And before you blow off the word trauma, you might feel like people use that too much or something, or they abuse it or use it as an excuse. Here's a little fact you want to stick in your pocket. The brain doesn't differentiate between pain. If it's emotional pain, it's pain. If it's physical, it's pain. If it's trauma, like, oh my gosh, all these things are happening, it's freaking me out, it's traumatic. The brain is registering all of it the same way. It doesn't differentiate like, oh, well, this is a different kind of trauma. This is a thing, no, it doesn't do that. The brain is just like, and so then you have the fight, flight, freeze, and what's the other one? I think there's another one. Anyway, no, maybe it is just fight, flight, or freeze. So anyhow, at some point, I remember last year, I was like, look, I'm overwhelmed. I'm going to slip in. I feel like I just can't. I need to pull back because I'm an introvert, and that's just how I feel when I get overwhelmed. I want to hide in a cave and not be bothered. That's not the right way, but not be bothered. But because I know I need quiet. I wanted peace and quiet and to just have a chance to get my bounce back. But here's the thing. I went into survival mode. Now, the way 2020 went, we just had to, but the thing is I got stuck in that. And, I have a lot of really good self-care tools that I have been using for years, and it's done me a great deal of good. And I was practicing those things off and on, but it was like I could not get my groove. I could not find my groove with these practices. And, before 2020, I had this routine. It was very cool. I was just really rocking it. It was like this Zen place that I was in. I mean, I was at one point in 2019, I was in contract on a condo, and it burnt down. And so anyway, it's okay because things worked out. Obviously, I got a house, and that was much better for me. But What I'm saying is I handled it really well because I was rocking my self-care groove. Like I was using all my tools and that's how I was coping with and handling things. But then 2020 came and just knocked me sideways. And I felt like the people that I looked to, mentors and leaders, they were also reeling. And I wasn't I was just like, okay, well, I guess we're all just going to have to do what we've got to do. And then, leadership as far, leadership in other realms, like beyond friendship, mentoring stuff, leadership at work and leadership, in our country. I just was like, what are you people doing? Have you, like, where is your sense? Where is your reason? What? So anyway, I don't want to go into all that. You know what it was like. We were all frustrated, disappointed, and yeah, depressed. Because then we were all locked up in our houses feeling like we couldn't go anywhere or do anything. I mean, we didn't just feel that way, we really couldn't. So anyway, I slipped into autopilot like I'm sure many other people did. And I knew, I was like, okay, I'm going to do this, but I don't want to get stuck here. Well, I did get stuck there. I had been numbing out. My favorite way to numb out is TV and movies or a good book, like slip into a good book and just disappear, enjoy the little world that's playing out in your head, the story that's happening in your head. And the thing with, I did a journaling prompt thing about numbing out, and I discovered that, like it asked questions like, okay, what's your favorite way to numb out? And what do you hope to achieve when you numb out? And my thing was, I want to relax and I want to like give myself a chance to bounce back. But then as I was answering those journaling prompts, I realized that numbing out was not helping me relax because everything that was bothering me was still in my head, taunting me. It was stuff I put on the back burner, but it was still boiling. It was boiling over, splashing, making a mess. And so I was trying to like, I'm not going to look at you, but I knew it was there. I could hear it. And so numbing out really didn't help that. And therefore, no matter how much I zoned out and numbed out and spent a lot of time alone, it wasn't helpful. It didn't restore me because I wasn't actually taking the stuff off of the back burner and like, look, let's sort it out. Do we want to keep this? Do we want to throw it away and just wash this stuff up? I needed to sort things out. So anyway, yeah, I ended up feeling fine. I felt just fine, which means freaked out, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. Like I said, I tried to get back in a healthy groove and I just could not find my healthy groove. And so I was like, okay, I need help. I need a life coach or a therapist. And I went with a therapist because I've worked with a life coach and I felt like I needed somebody to work with who was going to help me go a little deeper. And also I just wanted to gauge, like, where am I at? Am I in a good place? Because I think I've come a long way, but after the year I've had, I'm really wondering now, how far have I really come? So, I did go to a therapist. The other thing that happened in 2020 was there were a lot of triggers coming up, like out of the blue. And I remember one situation, it was just a memory of a conversation I had with my daughter and something she was teasing me about. And then, how your mind will quickly, within seconds, you're rolling into the next, like, just imagined story, like a possibility of something that might happen. And just the idea of this possibility happening upset me so bad I burst into tears. I'm just sitting on my couch chilling out, remembering something, and my mind rolled into what if this happened? And then I burst into tears. I was like, oh my gosh, I need some help. So I told, on my first visit, I told my therapist, okay, a lot of triggers have been happening, this thing, that thing, but recently this happened. And she said, I told her about that, and she goes, don't you think that, the reason you burst into tears and got so emotional about that is because you're not finished grieving. You're not finished grieving your marriage. And I was so confused because I'm like, first of all, I know I'm over my ex. So there's nothing for me to grieve there. But it was so much more, my youth and the hopes and dreams I had, while I was in that relationship, the kind of life I was trying to build, but I was not able to create the home life exactly because my partner was not his vision for life. And, yeah, there were just a lot of other things that showed up that once I started doing the work. But I left that first visit, first of all, when she said, don't you see you need to grieve, I burst into tears again. Because I was like, and here's the thing, I never would have arrived at that conclusion on my own because I didn't want to grieve. Who wants to grieve? I mean, that sounds painful. That sounds depressing. And when I first left my ex, I didn't just leave him. I moved from Ohio to Colorado. I moved halfway across the country to start my life over again because I knew that I had habits, a certain way of living and being with other people, and I needed to break all of that. I needed to break away from all of that and learn how to live in a more healthy way because I wasn't living healthy, and I hadn't been. And I did that, I moved away, I did start over, I did create healthy habits, but then when my heartstrings were pulled to come back here, I then found that I was facing things that I was taken care of, it's like I got called back here to finish unfinished business, to take care of unfinished business. And so it's been quite a wild ride. And I'm sharing this with you because I do know about the days that really suck. I know about going through those periods of time, those weeks of feeling hopeless. And I want to tell you that there is another side. You will come out on the other side. And there's no rush. It's okay to sit in the funk. It's not going to kill you, unless you start doing things that are really unhealthy for you. Slow your roll, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Because I've done that too, gotten really blue, and I was like, you know what I'm doing tonight? I'm drinking till I got a good buzz. And that's what I've done. But I am really careful about that because I know I am a highly sensitive person. I'm empathic, and because of that, I think that's a big part of why I have always struggled with anxiety and depression, because of how sensitively I feel my emotions, but I feel everybody else's too. I not only can feel what you're feeling, but I can also feel like, oh yeah, I have felt that too. I get it. Like I'm right in there with you. So that's what I'm saying. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. If you're going to drink, make sure you keep some bottles of water on hand and hydrate. Go ahead and cut loose, but use your head, because you have to be your own best friend. You are your responsibility, and you will get through this. And yeah, some days just suck, and there ain't nothing to do about that but go through it. There's nothing to do but just push on through. And some days you don't feel like pushing through and you don't feel like being strong, and it's okay. You don't have to. You don't have to. I think for me, I'm always like, I want to be happy. I just want to be happy. I hate feeling the blues. I hate, but every time the situation comes around and I find myself fighting what I'm feeling instead of actually listening to the feelings and processing and dealing it, I have to remind myself over and over, And what I want to say too is the more you practice good self-care habits and the more you use the tools that will help you through the funky days and the depression and whatever, the better you get at it, the more it becomes a habit. But it takes a while for things to become a habit, and you have to be understanding and compassionate with yourself and allow it to be what it is. So like healing is not going to be like that. It comes in layers, and triggers happen like waves. Here comes a wave, push, knocks you right off your feet. And sometimes it knocks you so hard you don't know which way is up. And that is no fun. But that's why I'm making this video and doing what I'm doing, because I want you to know you're not the only one, and you are going to be okay. And you can do hard things. You can do hard things. You don't have to want to. Some days you don't want to. You don't have to. You don't have to. If you need to have a pity party and have a fit, well then go ahead. But I'm going to ask you this. Try not to take it out on other people, because it's not their problem. You are your responsibility. And you got this. You can do it. You just have to learn new things, and it's fine. When you learned to tie your shoes, it took you a while, didn't it? You weren't like, oh, show me how to tie shoes, and then boop-de-boop, and ta-da, you were perfect. You did it perfectly. No, you didn't. When you learned to ride a bike, you didn't just hop on a bike and ride around like you were ready to, join a race or something. No. It took what? Practice. It took consistency. Consistency of trying. Consistency of learning from other people who were good at it. And you're like, oh, okay, that's how they do that. All right, I got this. So this is running a bit long, but I just, I wanted to make sure I told you these things. What else? I got my notes here I'm looking at. So, I went to the therapist. It wasn't just going to look, talking to a therapist isn't going to do you any good if you don't do the homework. If you don't do the things suggested to help you. And if they're not telling you things you could do to help yourself, ask. And if they still aren't very helpful about what you could do to help yourself in between visits, keep looking and asking around. Ask me. I might have some ideas from my own experience, what I've used and what I've done to help myself get through things. So, what else? So this year, I snapped out of living in survival mode. And I feel like this year has been, it's been a lot of remembering. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that. Oh, like you get out of habit of something and somehow you forget. Not entirely, obviously, but, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't set boundaries. How could I forget that? It's so important. And, so it's been a lot of remembering, but it's also been because my homework this year has been to let myself grieve. Well, first of all, I didn't want to do that. I drove away from that first appointment. I was like, I don't want to grieve. And I spilled out all these reasons why I didn't. And then I was like, are you kidding me? When like when you say it out loud, you're like, what? That's ridiculous. So I did my homework and I found breakthroughs, but it wasn't like flipping a light switch. Oh, look, they told me this and now I'm better. No, I had to do the work. I had to come home. And in the days and weeks in between my appointments with my therapist, I was working on things. I was working on getting in touch with me again, and listening. So I've done my homework. I've had my breakthroughs. I'm still practicing the good stuff in order to keep myself in good mental and spiritual and physical health, and to allow more growth and healing in my life. There's no one thing that fixed it for me in this year. I had to listen to my emotions. I had to pay attention to what was showing up, and I had to think about it. I had to process it. I had to sort it out. And in doing that, the more I have done that, the better I have felt. So I've done what I felt I needed to do. And because I was listening to my whole system, my mind, my body, when I felt things in my body, I'm like, oh, what is that? That's anxiety. That's why my muscles are all tightened up and I feel like I can hardly breathe, So, one night I sat down and I journaled, and I just asked myself, what is it you need right now? And I just sat quietly for a minute, and the thing that came to me was yoga for trauma specifically. So I looked it up, and it was only a 10-minute video, and I was like, thank God, because I'm not up for some 30 minute or hour long video. I'm not at that level with yoga. So anyway, I did that, and I bawled my head off for a couple minutes, but I did it, and it was very relaxing. And when I was done, I felt better, and all that tension in my muscles, my upper back and my neck, gone. Yeah, it was miraculous, because I asked myself the important question that needed to be asked: what do you need? And then I did what I felt I needed to do. So that's when the magic happens. When we ask ourselves, hey, how are you? What do you need? What can I do for you? What do you want to know? What do you want to show me? And then just be still a minute and see what shows up. See what comes up to you. And sometimes nothing. And so in those moments, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go watch TV or whatever, I'm going to go paint or whatever the thing is. But, so the magic happens when we move in love towards ourselves, honoring our whole system, body, mind, soul, our gut, our intuition, doing what we need to do for ourselves and taking responsibility. It's not somebody else's job to do this for me. It's my job, and I'm totally capable. Oh, hell yeah. It doesn't require that my circumstances change. No. That has nothing to do with me feeling better. I can take care of myself and bring myself back to a place where I'm at peace and I have joy in the moment, and I see that, okay, there is hope and I'm going to be all right. One day at a time. It's all we have anyway, It's all we have. So we can change how we view and handle, this day, this moment. And when we do that, we open ourselves up to just flow with life and allow the good, look for the good. This is something I try to do every day at some point, usually before I go to bed. I'll stop and think, okay, what are three things I'm really thankful for this day? And taking time for gratitude makes a big, big difference in your attitude. So I just want to encourage you, it's okay to be where you are. It's okay to sit with your pain. It isn't going to gobble you up. I know sometimes it feels like that with pain and anger and grief and all of it. But here's the thing. Emotions are sirens and teachers. They are message carriers. So they're not going to leave us alone until we listen to what they have to say. And then that's when they are released from their mission and they pass. So we have to let them come and speak to us. We have to listen to them. And then you let them come to pass. If you want them to go away and quit barking at you, over and over, that's what you have to do. If you want to heal, you must feel the feelings and deal with them. You got to process. What is this? Why do I feel this way? What do I need to do? If you will do that, I'm telling you, magic will happen. But also, I want to say, if you're feeling black and blue and you don't want to hear about what, be strong and you can do this and whatever, I get it, Sometimes you just got to let yourself be where you are. There's nothing wrong with that. Listen to you. That's what's going to make a difference. Listen to your heart, listen to your gut. What is it saying to you? And if you just don't have the strength to get up and fight and face the day, that's all right. Do what you got to do. Tomorrow's a brand new day and you can start again. It's okay. It's okay. Everything is going to be okay. You're going to be okay. I love you. I'll talk to you later. Bye.